Rupert Patrick is a man on a mission. He's attempting to bring back to life a lost classic blended whisky that has not been produced since the 1940s. Now the challenge is, can they create a modern version of this classic lost blend?
I didn't necessarily set out to find those bottles. It was really a conversation with a first cousin whose brother is James Eadie. This is Christopher Eadie. And we were talking about the history and how I was going to try and revive it. And I think he said something like, oh yeah, I think I've got a bottle. And I said, a bottle of what? He said, well, a bottle from about 1940. And I decided if we were going to do it, we had to do it 100% properly. In other words, recreate that blend with the same whiskies. Originally, my absolute #1 priority was to bring in a master blender.
I think the biggest challenge was, at this point, I had not seen what his great-great-grandfather had done. But Rupert had pulled out a lot of information from the archives, certain words his grandfather had used, which was a guide to the direction we wanted to head.
The problem facing Rupert is that some of the whiskies listed in the ledger are no longer in production. However, he manages to track down remaining stock for all of the whiskies apart from 2, which proved to be elusive.
What keeps me up at night is the 2 closed distilleries that we absolutely have to get, the Canvas grain and the Little Mill malt. Well, what's your experience? How hard is that going to be?
I think it'll be very hard to get. I think you will be able to get them if you speak nicely to your friends. But I think they are essential that they are in the blend. If we can get them, they will not be cheap.
I reckon there would be a small amount of stock if I could find it in brokers' hands or with various people who were guarding it. So I had to try and track these down. That took a long, long time. We found the Canvas in amazing sherry butts, and we found the Little Mill in wonderful bourbon barrels.
It was Rupert's job to go and find the stock.
And to begin with, it was no. When I started telling them the story and I showed them the ledgers and I showed them what I was really trying to do, it caught their imagination as much as it did mine. And that was the turning point when they said, you know what, I think this is quite interesting for blended whisky in general, because we're telling the story of the first golden age of Scotch whisky.
So having found the stock to create the new blend, the burning question is, how will it taste?